We've all seen people struggle and sweat and just bomb horribly. I mean, we've all bombed horribly at interviews, I'm sure, as well. But can you share some memorable interviews that you've either conducted or sat through?
First thing that came to mind was an interview that involved someone who had put on the resume a senior React developer, which is a fairly common skill set to possess. And I'm fairly certain that as I was asking questions, this is a remote interview, I think this is around the pandemic times, and I am fairly certain they were on their other monitor furiously Googling something. That was a little bit odd.
And how did you know they were doing that?
Just the way that they were interacting with the questions. So they would sit there and I'd ask them something like, well, can you tell me the difference between like state and props? And then they'd be like, well, I can't hear the keyboard, but there's this long drawn out kind of nothing sounds coming out of their mouth. And then they'll start reading something that sounds like they looked up the definition and started reading one to the other. And then afterwards, like, oh, and then it was this.
I think COVID got us that technique of being able to look at two things at once while focusing your attention on one person.
Yeah, something that I think would be a red flag for that. In an actual interview, if someone had asked me something along the lines of, how do you feel about working autonomously often? Or something like that, right? Like, do you work well without much supervision? And they're trying to frame it, like, oh, we trust you to do everything, but really they're saying you're gonna do everything and we might help you with it. And that's not a very, I don't think a very productive environment.